Hi there, welcome to my channel where I share my hobby making art. Again, today I want to talk about something that I think resonates with many of us, feeling totally exhausted. While you enjoy watching me paint a flower market poster, we could have a conversation about this very important topic. I've been feeling this way for a while now, and I'm curious if you experience the same thing. Why is it that so many of us seem exhausted, unmotivated, and just stuck? Why do we feel like we're never achieving what we want? And why does time seem to just slip by, leaving us feeling empty and unproductive? I'd love for you to think along with me and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's dive into this together and try to understand why we're all feeling so worn out and uncreative. Let's start with the obvious culprit, our phones. Many of us spend hours scrolling, often without realizing how much time has passed. Minutes turn into hours, and before we know it, half the day is gone. Social media, news apps, games, it's all designed to keep us hooked. And because we're so absorbed, we barely notice the clock ticking away. It's like we're in this endless cycle of scrolling, consuming content, and losing precious time that we could spend on things that truly matter to us. And there's actually science behind how this affects us. Research shows that constant phone use changes the way our brains work. Over time, all the stimulation from our phones takes a toll. Studies have shown that constant phone use can make us feel less content, less motivated, and less satisfied with life overall. Just like rats that are given constant dopamine-boosting stimuli, we start to lose our natural interest in everyday activities. Our overstimulated brains struggle to find joy in real-life experiences, and our attention spans get shorter. We end up feeling restless, and it becomes hard to focus on anything that doesn't give us instant gratification. Then there's the impact of social media on our self-esteem. On these platforms, we're constantly shown images of what others have or seem to have: perfect bodies, amazing vacations, successful careers. We end up comparing ourselves to these unrealistic standards, and it can make us feel like we're not good enough. It's hard to feel motivated to create or work on something meaningful when we feel inadequate or believe we're not capable of achieving the same level of success or beauty that we see online. Our self-image suffers, and so does our motivation to actually go out there and create something beautiful. And then there are notifications, the endless pinging that pulls our attention away every few minutes. Social media trains our brains to expect quick bursts of information, which makes it hard to focus on anything for a long time. But here's the problem: to truly get good at something, whether it's painting, writing, or learning a new skill, you need time and focus. Personally, when I work on a painting, it takes me about 10 hours to finish. That's a big commitment of my free time, especially with work and other responsibilities. But with social media, we're used to fast, bite-sized content. We want quick results, and if we don't see immediate progress, we get bored and give up. This quick fix mindset makes it tough to develop real skills, and without the ability to concentrate for hours, we lose out on the joy of creating something meaningful. So why are we all so exhausted and uninspired, unable to make art, unable to make beautiful things like we did when we were childs? Maybe it's because we're constantly overstimulated, comparing ourselves, and distracted by endless notifications. It's not easy to break free from these habits, but perhaps recognizing the problem is the first step. I hope by talking about this topic, we can bring back hobbies in our lives, because we are truly capable of more than we think. I hear people being sad because they can't get themselves to do anything. They are just lying in bed, scrolling all day. That's such a shame when you think about all the fun, creative things we can make while we're scrolling away our lives on social media. Now, don't get me wrong, social media and our phones aren't the only reasons we feel like we don't have time for hobbies or personal growth. There's also work, school, family, eating, sleeping, the usual life stuff that fills up our day. But let's be honest, if you look at your daily screen time, you might notice that a significant chunk of your time is actually spent on your phone. Did you know that if you spend around 4 hours a day on your phone, that adds up to roughly 11 years of your life? 11 years, just think about all the amazing things you could do in that time. So the question is, how can we break this cycle? How can we spend less time on our phones and more time doing things we love? There are lots of videos with tips on reducing screen time, so I'll skip the basics and dive into some creative tips that might actually help. Step 1, only follow real friends. First things first, only follow people you know in real life. This means cutting out celebrities, influencers, brands, magazines, and even acquaintances who are trying to make it big on social media. Why? Because if you don't have their phone number, do you really need to see what they're doing? Following strangers or celebrities often leaves us feeling like our lives are boring by comparison. When you're scrolling, seeing glamorous people on vacations, looking perfect and living what seems like an amazing life, it just makes you feel worse. Next up, let's talk about the mute feature, which is totally underrated. If there are people you have to follow, maybe it's family, an old friend, or even an acquaintance you'd rather not offend, mute them. You won't see their posts or stories, but they'll never know. This way, you're not bombarded with content you didn't want to see in the first place. You won't be distracted by what others are up to, and you'll feel a lot more in control of your feed. Step 3, get an app to track your screen time. It might sound simple, but using an app to track your screen time can be a game changer. You've probably heard it 1,000 times, maybe even from your mom, but tracking your time really works. Apps like Screen Time for iPhone or Digital Wellbeing for Android can show you just how much time you're spending on each app. You might be shocked to see the actual numbers. Sometimes, just having that reminder is enough to motivate you to spend less time scrolling and more time doing things that matter. This one is a bit more drastic. Try leaving your phone in a room you rarely go to or keeping it in a drawer. By creating distance, you'll find yourself reaching for it less often. And when you're tempted to pick it up, remember those 11 years you're risking. Just think about that. Do you really want to spend so much of your life staring at a screen? Make it a habit to keep your phone out of sight whenever you're trying to work on a hobby or spend quality time with others. Step 5, find activities that truly make you happy. The best way to reduce phone time is to fill it with something else that you genuinely enjoy. Whether it's painting, writing, learning an instrument, or just spending time in nature, finding a passion outside of your phone is the easiest way to resist the urge to scroll. If you're deeply engaged in something, the need to check your phone fades away. Try a few things until you find a hobby that excites you. The more fulfilling your activities are, the less likely you are to rely on your phone for entertainment. Step 6, set your phone to grayscale mode. If you want to take things a step further, try setting your phone to grayscale. Without the colorful icons and notifications, your phone becomes a lot less attractive. The idea is that a grayscale phone won't hold your attention as much, and studies suggest that it can make your phone less addictive. In grayscale, everything looks a bit more serious and utilitarian, making it easier to see your phone as a tool rather than a source of entertainment. Step 7, don't worry about missing out. One of the reasons we stay glued to our phones is the fear of missing out. But here's the truth, you're not actually missing anything important. The content creators and influencers on social media want you to feel that way, so you keep watching. Realizing this can be empowering. Once you understand that it's all designed to keep you hooked, it becomes easier to walk away. You're not missing anything essential, and life offline can be so much richer and more satisfying. Step 8, tell others you're taking a break. When you're trying to limit your phone use, telling other people can help keep you accountable. Whether it's family, friends, or even your social media followers, letting people know makes it easier to follow through. If people know you're taking a break, there's a little extra pressure to stick with it. Plus, doing things with others is more fun, so if you can convince a friend to join you in a digital detox, even better. Step 9, embrace your boring life. One of the biggest lies social media tells us is that life has to be exciting all the time. But real life isn't like that. Sometimes it's just ordinary. And that's okay. Embrace the routines and little moments that make up your day. When you stop trying to make everything special, you'll have more energy and time to invest in things that truly matter. Ironically, by accepting the boring parts of life, you'll find more space for hobbies, growth, and real achievements. Step 10, take responsibility for your choices. Finally, remember that you are the only one responsible for your phone habits. It's easy to blame social media, the internet, or even your friends, but ultimately, you're the one choosing to spend time on your phone. Reflect on what you truly want out of life, and realize that every hour you spend scrolling is an hour you're taking away from yourself. Take control, set boundaries, and make choices that allow you to live a life you can be proud of. All right, so you've reduced your phone time and carved out a little extra space in your life. Now what? How do you actually get started with a hobby, especially if you don't even know where to begin? Here's a simple 5-step plan to help you find a hobby, stick with it, and make it a source of genuine joy and fulfillment. The first step is to figure out what truly excites you. If you already know what you're passionate about, that's great, whether it's painting, cooking, playing an instrument, or learning a language. You're ready to dive in. But if you're not sure yet, don't worry. Many people don't know what they're passionate about until they try a few things. Start by experimenting with different activities. Take a beginner's class, watch tutorials, or ask friends about their hobbies and join them to give it a try. The key here is curiosity. Don't worry about getting it right. On the first try, just explore different interests until you find something that resonates. You might discover a love for something you never expected, like woodworking, gardening, or even rock climbing. Step 2, make time for it. Once you find an activity that excites you, treat it as an important part of your schedule. Don't just leave it for when you happen to have free time, because let's be honest, that might never happen. Instead, set aside specific blocks of time for it each week. This could be an hour in the morning before work, a few evenings each week, or a couple of hours on the weekend, whatever works best for you. When you schedule dedicated time, you're committing to your hobby in a real way. This time is for you, not for checking notifications or tackling other obligations. Think of it as an appointment with yourself. Protect it, and soon it will become a natural part of your routine. This consistency is key to making progress and finding fulfillment in what you're doing. Step 3, don't compare yourself to others. One of the biggest traps people fall into, especially in the age of social media, is comparing themselves to others. Remember, your hobby is for you. It's not about achieving perfection or outperforming anyone else. It's your time to unwind, explore, and express yourself without pressure. Focus on finding your unique style and rhythm in whatever you're doing. If you're learning to paint, for example, don't stress about making something gallery-worthy, just enjoy the process of creating. Think of your hobby as an opportunity to play and experiment. Enjoy the small improvements and celebrate the moments when you lose yourself in the activity. The more you connect with your own progress and passion, the less you'll feel the need to compare yourself to others. Step 4, let others inspire you. While comparison can be harmful, inspiration is incredibly valuable. Look to others, not to feel less than them, but to spark ideas and get motivated. Follow artists, chefs, musicians, or other enthusiasts in your chosen field who inspire you. Watch videos, read articles, or attend workshops. Let their work and enthusiasm boost your own creativity. Sometimes, seeing what others have achieved can open your mind to new possibilities. You might find new techniques you want to try or different styles you want to incorporate. Inspiration doesn't mean copying. It's about absorbing ideas and letting them help you grow in your own way. Use others as a source of energy, not as a measurement of your own worth. Step 5, find others to share it with. Hobbies can be even more enjoyable when shared with others. Try to find a community of people who share your interest, whether it's online or in real life. Look for local clubs, online forums, or social media groups where people connect over your chosen hobby. What do you think? Do you feel this way too? And if you do, have you found ways to deal with it? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and maybe together we can figure out a path toward feeling more fulfilled and creative. Thanks for watching, and let's keep this conversation going.